In the spring of 1848, Henrietta Wood was a free black woman living in Cincinnati, Ohio. Life had finally given her a measure of peace after years of struggle. She worked as a domestic servant, cautiously optimistic that her days of slavery were behind her, but one fateful decision would plunge her back into the nightmare she had escaped. It began innocently enough. A woman named Rebecca Boyd approached Henrietta, offering a better-paying job across the Ohio River. Without suspicion, Henrietta agreed, eager for the opportunity. However, as the carriage carrying her crossed state lines into Kentucky, the promise of a new job vanished. In a shocking betrayal, Boyd sold her back into slavery. For years, Henrietta toiled under brutal masters, trapped in a cycle of hardship, but she never gave up hope. In 1864, as the Civil War raged, she was taken to Texas by her new owner, Gerard Brandon. The war's chaos offered a flicker of hope, but Texas felt like a distant, forgotten land where freedom might never arrive. Would she live to see the end of this conflict? Finally, in 1865, Union soldiers arrived and Henrietta was freed for the second time in her life. Her body was battered, but her spirit remained unbroken. She made her way back to Cincinnati, determined not only to reclaim her life, but to seek justice for the years of bondage that had been stolen from her. In 1870, she took an unprecedented step. Henrietta sued her former captor, Zebulon Ward, for damages. She demanded reparations for the years of illegal enslavement, a bold move in a country still reeling from the Civil War. But the fight for justice would not be swift. For nearly a decade, the court case dragged on, tangled in legal delays. Why did it take so long? The answer lay in the deep-rooted prejudice and systemic racism of the era. The courts, controlled by white men, were reluctant to recognize the rights of a former slave. A black woman seeking reparations from a powerful white man was almost unthinkable. Ward, a man of considerable influence, used every legal maneuver to delay the case. His wealth and connections bought him time, forcing Henrietta to wait year after year while her claim was tied up in bureaucracy. Each delay tested her endurance, but Henrietta refused to give up. The case was further complicated by the legal chaos of the post-Civil War era. America was still grappling with the aftermath of slavery, and the courts had no clear precedent for a claim like hers. The legal system struggled to answer the question about whether a former slave could sue for damages related to their enslavement, prolonging her battle for justice. As the years dragged on, Henrietta stood firm, driven by the belief that her suffering should not go unanswered. She knew the odds were against her, but she also knew that the fight was bigger than herself. Finally, in 1878, the courtroom grew tense as the judge prepared to deliver the long-awaited verdict. The question loomed: could one woman, stripped of her freedom twice, possibly win against the forces arrayed against her? Against all odds, the ruling came in her favor. Henrietta Wood was awarded $2,500 in damages, one of the largest sums ever granted to a former slave. It was a stunning victory, not just for Henrietta, but for the entire fight for justice. Though the years stolen from her could never be returned, the ruling was a testament to her unyielding strength and courage. Henrietta Wood's battle wasn't just against a man, it was against a system that had tried to erase her. In the end, her persistence carved her name into the history books, a beacon for all who dared to dream of justice in the face of overwhelming odds.